Good evening, welcome to The Project. Tonight, Elon Musk has been meddling in global elections from America to Europe, so could Australia be next?
Also, the extreme lengths people are going to for the perfect tan. We look at one potentially deadly trend, dubbed the Barbie drug.
Plus, TikTok is about to be banned in the US, so can the social media giant survive?
And the new tool readers are using to avoid raunchy scenes in their favourite books. That's right, somehow they've found a way to make reading even more boring.
We are live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and we've got funny man Sam Talton and Georgie Samuel, you've started strongly, Samuel.
Laid down an early anti-reading marker.
Anti-reading, if you read, you're weak.
What do you do on this show then, Sam?
I do a bit of reading. No, it's okay. I'm a weak fella. I know my place, yeah.
Let's get into today's top stories now. And a tough night for Sydney commuters as they bear the brunt of the bitter wage stalemate between the rail union and the New South Wales government. Ongoing industrial action has sparked hundreds of train cancellations and hours-long delays. Those who opted to drive instead faced bumper-to-bumper traffic.
My train then got cancelled at Redfern, and then you couldn't get on another train at Redfern to get to Central, so it's taken me about 2 hours.
And it's frustrating for all people, trying to go home.
I think the guys should just sit back, accept the deal.
Matilda's and Chelsea star Sam Kerr has fronted a London court charged with racially aggravated harassment of a police officer. She appeared for a pre-trial hearing over an alleged incident with a taxi driver almost 2 years ago. It took police 12 months to charge Kerr, which her lawyers argue is an abuse of process. Set to face trial next month, Sam has pleaded not guilty.
Emergency services are tonight closely monitoring a landslip that's already destroyed a luxury property at Macrae on Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. 11 other nearby homes have been evacuated amid fears they could suffer a similar fate. Neighbours are frustrated by a lack of action given a collapse on the same hill in 2022 left 2 homes uninhabitable.
2.5 years to get something done and you're locking people locked out of their house, it's crazy.
And 20 people have been evacuated at Cabramatta in Sydney's southwest after the roof of their unit block collapsed.
And Aussie families are struggling to meet the rising cost of education. Even for a child starting public school this year, the national average cost for prep to year 12 or kindergarten to year 12 is around $123,000.
Wow.
That's more than 30,000 grand more than last year. For a Catholic school education in the major cities, the cost's almost $194,000. Independent schools are even pricier, costing more than 350 grand.
I know that our birth rate is declining and it's getting to a very, very serious levels, and that's a trend that we're seeing right across the globe. But it's things like this, as someone that doesn't have kids, that actually makes me very nervous about the prospect as well. It's how on earth do you afford them?
Well, you send them down the mines to start working.
No, that's what I was going to say.
age.
You get them working, but in 2024, get them influencing on a little TikTok
you're
account
right.
or an
That's the
Instagram
updated
account.
version
That
of
is
the
the
mines.
mines.
I think the problem is that technology is also making it so much more expensive to send your kids to school, right? So my big boy, he's in grade 3 this year, and they all require an iPad, a 10th generation iPad with a certain number of meg that he needs. Even second-hand, they're like $800.
That's crazy.
And if you've got a number of children to cover, and you know as well that they're probably going to drop it at some point, it's really expensive and it adds up for families.
I remember day 1 of kindergarten, my dad gave me a lead pencil. He said, that's going to last you to year 12. And I lost it the second day.
Well, you saved it by not reading anything
Well, I've never read it.
the whole time.
No.
But look where you ended up.
Exactly. I thought people would clap then.
Oh, there we go.
No. I thought they were more like, yeah, we're surprised as well. That's quite
Stick with it, kids. This is where a lack of education can be. All right, tanning. I've never had to worry about it. But
No one likes a bragger, Wally. No one likes a bragger.
What a humble flex.
But I'm interested in your ways, and it's back in a big way. And as young Aussies strive to achieve the perfect sun-kissed glow, experts are warning a new nasal tanning spray trend isn't as harmless as it first appears.
It's been dubbed the Barbie drug.
People keep asking me everywhere I go, why am I so tan or where have I been? So I've been using this spray that either goes under your tongue or in your nose.
Just a spritz up the nose each day for 2 weeks and bam, you're bronzed.
It's less than $10.
Everyone needs to try these sprays. They've got loads of different flavours and they are insane.
The sprays contain molecules called melanotan-2, a synthetic version of the natural hormone in our body which controls the pigment in our skin cells. While the products are illegal in Australia, they're still heavily promoted on social media and sold on the black market.
We would strongly urge to not use these products. It is frustrating, definitely, whenever there's these new trends that come online, because we've worked so hard to instill in people that they need to protect themselves.
And there's a whole list of potential side effects, everything from nausea and vomiting to an increased risk of skin cancer and even neurological impacts, with a few rare cases of brain swelling and kidney failure.
Your face and chest will get completely flushed the first couple times you take it, and you're going to feel like your head is going to explode.
Do not, I repeat, do not use these tanners.
Just stick to fake tan and don't give these companies your money.
Those side effects seemingly ignored by an increasing number of young Aussies as 90s-esque tan lines bounce back into fashion.
We have a whole generation of people who haven't been exposed to messages like slip, slop, slap, seek, slide. We know that around 40% of young women are deliberately seeking a tan.
Experts urging those chasing the perfect tan to stick to the fake stuff instead.
Dr. Shami Thiessen is a dermatologist who's actually had patients come in who've used this tanning nasal spray. Dr. Shami, what do you say to those patients?
I'm going to have to say a tan in that way is not worth it. The side effects can be quite pronounced. Firstly, you get more of that tanning effect, so you're increasing the progression of any skin cancer cells to become melanomas or sun-induced skin cancers. But the less talked about side effects like tummy upsets, nausea, prolonged erectile issues, so you can get an erection for 8 hours and that is not fun. And the other rarer side effects are things like having an abnormal circulation to your renal artery, so you can get this tremendously damaging effect to your kidneys. So it's not a simple drug that should be bought over the counter or online, and it really needs to be properly validated and managed by professionals.
Those side effects don't sound great, but how common are they?
It's very common, actually, the appetite loss, the nausea, the tummy upset, and the erectile issues, and these weird persistent yawning. They're reasonably common, so about 18 to 20%. Certainly the renal problems are rarer, but in general, it's something which should not be easily ignored. Like, there is a reason why the FDA and the TGA have banned this substance. So it's a synthetic hormone that then plays with your pigment-producing cells in your body.
Whoa. Is it more dangerous than tanning in the sun?
Well, you're actually doing both, because when you have the nasal spray, the full benefit kicks in when you tan. So it's that augmentation with the UVB and the UVA. So you're actually doing both. And I find that it's a lot worse because as you have a bit more of a tan, you don't have those natural cues to stop you from being outside because you're burning or you're painful. So you don't have those pain receptors or any of that to stop you from being out there for too long. So I think it's worse.
Yeah. My motto is what you can't tone, tan.
Yeah.
But just do it safely, people.
No tan is worth an 8-hour erection.
No, and you may not come back from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Hey, Doc, thanks so much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
So not all bad.
Not all bad, yeah. I'm actually looking at nasal
Peaks
spray
and
up right now,
troubles.
Guys, let's go to Hobart, where Albo, that's Anthony Albanese, if you're not sure who Albo is, has promised the locals more money for a new housing development in South Brighton. Now, if you listen to the local mayor, it sounds like there's a bit going on in Tassie, and housing isn't all it has going for it.
We have now got a Banjo's Bakery, we have a Subway, we have a KFC over our shoulder here. Everything is working.
Hear that, Opera House? We got a new landmark in town. It's called Banjo's Bakery.
I remember getting a McDonald's near Bribey Island. It was the best day of my life.
It's huge, isn't it? Yeah.
Still?
Let's take a
Is
break.
it still the best day of your life?
Maybe.
Until I get one of those nasal sprays.
Time now to see what's making news around the world.
As the Palisades and Eaton wildfires continue to burn, red flag warnings have been issued across Southern California, with more dangerous fire conditions forecast.
We are taking an aggressive lean forward posture, strategically placing fire patrols and engines in the unimpacted high fire risk areas in the city.
Almost 90,000 people remain under evacuation orders. The death toll has risen to 25. Most of the fatalities have been attributed to the Eaton fire. And despite AI images showing the contrary, the Hollywood sign is still standing. The Princess of Wales has revealed she's in remission after paying a visit to the London hospital where she received her cancer treatment. Now joint patron of the Royal Marsden with Prince William, she thanked the staff for their exceptional care and support and met with patients receiving chemo and immunotherapy.
She seemed to really have an understanding of what they were going through.
And officials are scrambling to verify reports Australian man Oscar Jenkins, taken prisoner while fighting for Ukraine, has been killed by Russian soldiers. Australia may expel Russia's ambassador if the 32-year-old's death is confirmed.
If there has been any harm caused to Oscar Jenkins, the Australian government will take the strongest action possible.
Quite a story. Former Australian soldier and international law consultant Dr. Glenn Colomites is here with us now to discuss this. Glenn, what do you think has happened to Oscar Jenkins?
Look, we know that Oscar was captured by the Russians. We know he was being held in a temporary holding area, and we understand that the Ukrainians have drone footage of remains of a body which they're saying is Oscar. So, look, it certainly looks like if the Russians haven't killed him, then he was in their custody when he died. Either way, the Russians are in the frame. But right now we have Australian members of the Legion out in that location where the drone was, trying to get some sort of confirmation. It's up in the air, but I'm fairly certain that he's dead, and the Russians are certainly involved.
Glenn, this whole story is just so strange. Is there more to it than what we're being told?
Absolutely there is. It's very unusual. In fact, it doesn't happen. Russia don't kill captured international legionnaires because they have such enormous political value, information operations and leverage against the country that the legionnaires from. And we saw them using the information operations when they released that footage of Oscar being interrogated. So for them to have intentionally killed a legionnaire when that sort of value is there, it's very, very surprising. I suspect that the Ukrainians had waged a counter-offensive or something against these Russian positions, and they had to stage a rapid withdrawal. And I suspect that they've killed him because he would have been a logistical liability when they were in the withdrawal. Or alternately, Russian field units have such poor leadership. There's no leadership below the junior officer level that some young Russian conscript has killed him without realising the sort of value in holding a captured international legionnaire.
Do we know why Oscar felt compelled to go over to Ukraine?
Look, I suspect it's a bit of altruism, to be honest. Ukraine is in the middle of an existential fight against the Russian aggressor, and I was over there living and working with legionnaires who are all ex-military, and they were there for the same sort of reasons, not for the money. You don't get paid very well in the Legion, but look, I think he was just trying to do the right thing, and he was trying to fight to help Ukraine in this fight, and good on him, to be honest. Good on him.
Glenn, do you know how many Australians are actually over there fighing?
Look, I think it's fair to say about 30 getting around the country now. Early on, there was more, I understand, but as the conflict dragged on and we lost a few, we didn't get quite as many on the ground over there.
Well, if what you think has happened and Oscar's death is confirmed, how should the Australian government react?
Australia should be, I think, at the least, recalling our ambassador from Moscow and sending the Russian ambassador packing as a bit of a diplomatic effort, at least. It's a message, right? But there's not a lot more they can do. If it does turn out that Oscar did die whilst he was in Russian custody, then there has to be an investigation. Australia can push for that or even can assist with that. They could send people like myself over to look into that, to investigate that. But at the moment, I think diplomatic efforts are about all they can do.
It'll be fascinating when the facts come out, if indeed they do, Glenn. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Thanks, guys.
After a break, we'll play next soon. It could be tick boom for TikTok, with the social media juggernaut facing a forced sale in the US. The company is saying it will shut down completely within a week unless the ruling is overturned.
Well, it was nice knowing y'all. TikTok is getting banned officially.
TikTok on the clock. A US law banning the app on national security grounds set to see it disappear from app stores by January 19, unless Chinese parent company ByteDance agrees to sell up.
Effectively, they're worried about the way users can potentially be tracked, and the fact that ByteDance, through the link to the Chinese government, has control over what people see on that, and it could potentially be weaponised against the US government.
And with the deadline fast approaching, TikTok's 170 million US users are worried they'll miss out on dance challenges with the Wiggles. Explanations of how and why to eat a whole cucumber while nearly underwater.
Sometimes you need to eat an entire cucumber. Let me show you the best way to do it.
And living proof that Robert Irwin is more than Knuff. Some TikTokers having a teensy bit of a meltdown.
I don't give a damn about my data. I accidentally sold it to China in 2021 already. They have it.
So yeah, I think it's going to probably get banned, or it won't. Or some secret third thing. I don't know. We live in hell.
I feel like I'm in like a zombie apocalypse.
TikTok's lawyers are right now making a last-ditch bid in the US Supreme Court to have the laws overturned on free speech grounds.
You don't shut down a speech platform because you're worried about speech being dangerous. That is the whole point of the First Amendment.
The justices were very strong in questioning TikTok, and that is sort of a sign that they're probably much more leaning towards the government side of things.
I'm back in.
If upheld, a US ban could have massive repercussions for users all over the world.
It'd be like a Thanos snap where all the American users are no longer on there. But I think in the longer term, you've seen politicians in Australia pushing for a similar style ban here, and there is often the case where the US goes, Australia tends to follow.
But whatever the Supreme Court decides, TikTok might still have an ace up its sleeve.
The president is now on TikTok.
That's right. Despite moving to ban TikTok in 2020, Trump is now promising to rescue it.
I'm going to save TikTok.
But whatever happens to TikTok, one thing's for sure. Robert, you'll always be our Ken.
He certainly will. And not only just Donald Trump, his best friend Elon Musk, there's reports that he is interested in maybe purchasing TikTok. Yeah, and that would keep its survival going. It would also then completely change the platform again, I think. But this is interesting because what happens to all of the American users? Obviously, people become addicted to TikTok. It's a part of their daily lives. So obviously they're going to go and find an alternative for them. That's Red Note, which is another app. And then there's also another one being tossed around called Lemonade. The issue with both of those, they also have Chinese, they're Chinese-owned
They can't
apps.
win.
But I also remember the time you said Threads was going to displace everything else. So, you know.
I'll never live it down.
No, you won't.
Time for more of today's top stories now, and drastic action from Coles tonight. The supermarket giant has stripped kitchen knives from its shelves, well, nationwide I should say, following Monday's horrific attack on an employee in Ipswich. Claudia Campomayo-Watt was stabbed in the back while stocking shelves. Police will allege a 13-year-old boy accused of trying to kill the 63-year-old used a knife from the store.
It's a step in the right direction. Still, people are going to need to access knives, but perhaps having them for sale in a way that keeps them restricted.
Billionaire Adrian Portelli, known by many as the Lambo guy, will plead not guilty to charges. He and his company have conducted an illegal lottery in South Australia. The charges relate to giveaways of properties from the block, as well as other prizes. Portelli wasn't required in court for today's hearing.
Aussie kids who grew up in the 80s will be shedding a tear or two tonight for Simon Townsend, who has died at the age of 79. Starting out as a journalist, Simon first made headlines when he was twice jailed for refusing to fight in Vietnam. But it was his hit TV show, Simon Townsend's Wonder World, that made him a household name. mate Jono Coleman was on this show. The program won 5 Logies. It's one of the highest rating children's TV shows in Australian history. Simon, who was recently diagnosed with aggressive cancer, is survived by his 3 children, Lisbeth, Michael and Nadia.
And thank you for allowing me to prove the world really is wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, and by the way, not enough dogs co-host programs anymore.
You're
That's
so
what I
right.
got from that. Yeah, it was extraordinary. I remember that so much as a kid, that show. Our tech millionaire, Brian Johnson, known for his attempts to stay forever young, has stopped taking one of his 54 longevity drugs. Rather than making him younger, it turns out the drug, which is usually given to cancer patients, was making him older. 47-year-old's previously tried other treatments, like injecting himself with his son's plasma and getting shock treatments on his genitals.
When you do a whole body rejuvenation, you don't want just a young heart and a young cardiovascular system. You want a young everything. And so my scores on sexual performance were actually all 100%.
That was in an interview with you.
It was. I think he looked better before he started the process. He looks really waxy now.
I don't know. It works. I taser my genitals every morning. It works. I'm 74. Living proof. I'm telling you.
But can you imagine just dedicating your life, and he would be so, for want of a better word, anal about every single thing that he's doing with this, right? And he's so regimented and he takes exactly everything right, and then he's been sabotaging himself this whole time.
Yeah, because I understand, I know people are like, what are you doing? I kind of admire it as a science experiment, right?
Okay.
Because he's trying to see how can
he's also trying to sell a program, the Don't Die program.
Oh,
Sure.
Hey.
But the point is now the science experiment.
Yeah.
It's also, what do you want to live for? Like, they just banned TikTok. It's like, what's out there for?
I'm tired now.
Guys, let's go to Victoria, where opposition leader Brad Batten went to a childcare centre to promise no child would miss out. This is actually quite beautiful, on the one thing that really matters in life.
It's a place in a very heavily populated community where young kids can go out there and get what every child deserves. They deserve to have mud in their life.
That's right. And let me tell you, Brad's kids really love their Christmas stocking with mud in it. They thought it was a terrific present.
It's all right. Now, crippling pain, ongoing medical procedures, emotional turmoil, that is what thousands of Aussies are dealing with when they show up to work each day. Now, there's a push for employers to give their staff leave to deal with reproductive health issues. And research says it could actually save a fortune in the long run.
Samantha Patain's journey to motherhood wasn't an easy one.
I was 28 years old when I was told to go see a fertility specialist. It was just really difficult, to be very honest. Every second day, I would have to quickly drive there at 7 a.m, get the bloods done, and off I go to work pretending like nothing ever happened.
A process made harder because, like most Aussie employers, her workplace at the time didn't provide access to reproductive leave.
I had 8 IVF cycles. There were times where I had to potentially take unpaid leave because I had consumed all my sick leave.
Samantha found a new job, one that did offer paid leave for IVF treatments. A move, she says, made all the difference.
It was a game changer because I received the leave that I needed to be able to get the treatments I needed, and I managed to fall pregnant.
Reproductive leave is paid time off for workers to manage conditions or undertake procedures related to their reproductive health.
It would cover people going through fertility processes, people who suffer from conditions like endometriosis, anything to do with their reproductive health.
It also covers things like menopause, miscarriage and vasectomies. But currently only a handful of Aussie businesses and some state governments offer it.
We've actually heard from workers going to work with a bucket next to them in case they vomit. We've had people who've had to take unpaid time off because they can't physically stand up.
Business groups maintain it's not a feasible policy for every employer.
This sort of additional benefit really is something that a lot of those businesses simply can't afford.
But now, new union-commissioned research has revealed reproductive leave would actually save businesses and our economy money in the long run. Findings show it would cost $920 million each year to give all Aussie workers 12 days of reproductive leave. But not providing it ends up costing the economy more than $26 billion annually. That's almost 30 times more expensive.
At the moment, we're actually seeing productivity losses. Things like exiting the workplace early due to menopausal symptoms, people not getting promoted because of the amount of time they take off work, people that could work full-time but for their reproductive health and have to work part-time.
So could reproductive leave prove a win-win for organisations and their employees?
I feel like I owe it to my organisation, all the work that I could possibly give and all the effort I can give, because they supported me through the most important moment of my life.
Oh, I wish that there was a world that I could see this working. I can't quite just yet. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good or bad thing. I have people in my life who would so benefit from this because their body attacks them when it's that time of the month, and they could just really have this in their back pocket because they really, truly need it. But I'm not sure quite practically how it necessarily fits in with our current work model.
Yeah, and if you're a small business, you just simply can't afford it. I mean, look at the leave that we have. We have annual leave, sick leave, compassionate leave, carers leave, domestic violence leave. It's really hard to keep a business afloat when that much leave is on the table. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of look at, though, the birth rates, the falling birth rates in Australia. And when I look at, if it can help with fertility, perhaps, it might be a good idea.
And questions around this always come into what's deemed fair, right? Yeah. So I think in regards to this leave being proposed, it would be that both men and women would get 12 days leave to use how they would, because reproductive health can mean a number of things for men as well as women. And I think...
But fewer things.
Fewer things,
I think that's the sticking point, right?
Yeah. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. In my mind, that is necessary in order for, if women truly do need this, and so many do, you have to kind of have it be that the semblance of equality.
Well, you don't want that leave
that.
working against women, right?
Yes,
you don't want an employer looking at a man and a woman who are both equally qualified going, well, she deserves more leave.
We're off to a break. See you soon.
Watch me.
Project, welcome back. All right.
Well, let's go to Anthony Albanese. He is sliding into Elon Musk's DMs with a message. Keep off our turf. The Prime Minister is concerned Elon's newfound interest in swinging elections may put Australia in his sights. But will the world's richest man leave him on red?
In a place called Australia, one lawman is standing up to an outsider.
We make our decisions based upon our own national interest.
If you are unhappy with the situation, you must vote for change.
Ahead of Australia's federal election, the PM has issued a warning to Elon Musk.
We have foreign interference laws in this country, and Australian elections are a matter for Australians.
That comment inspired by the formerly Twitter's CEO's new pastime, influencing global elections.
He started to see his platform in a new way in recent months, actually. It's fairly recent that this kind of overt political interventions have started with Musk.
Last year, the world's richest man dropped almost $500 million in spare change on the US election in an effort to get Donald Trump elected.
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
Elon will always come through, we know that.
And with that big win on the board, Elon's turned his attention to old Blighty, launching a barrage of attacks on UK PM Keir Starmer and a farrage of support on Nigel Farage's Reform Party, even though he then said Nige wasn't up to the job.
Oh, well, of course we're friends. I mean, he just says what he thinks at any moment in time.
Musk has also gone all in on Germany's AfD, the far-right party who recently saw one of its leaders penalised by German courts for using Nazi slogans.
Only AfD can save Germany. End of story.
The richest man on the planet openly attacks our institutions, incites hatred, and openly supports the heirs of Nazism in Germany.
Which brings us to us. Elon's no stranger to Aussie politics. Last year, he called the government fascists over plans to regulate online misinformation. The billionaire also squaring off with the PM over Australia's attempts to pull graphic footage of last year's Sydney stabbing.
We'll do what's necessary to take on this arrogant billionaire who thinks he's above the law.
So will Musk heed the call and keep outside city limits? Or will he try his hand at replacing the sheriff?
Well, our US correspondent Steve Clemens joins us. Hey, Steve, do you really think that Elon is going to get involved in our election? I mean, aren't we a little bit small fry? What does he want from us?
Sorry to say it, but Australia is really big in America. It's popular. You're on Elon Musk's hit list.
Oh, yeah.
And, with the prime minister coming out and saying, hey, don't do this. Don't you dare do this. Don't meddle in our elections. you're actually staying up and say, hey, me, do it to us too. So, I'm sorry to say it, but yeah, of course, I think Elon Musk is trying to create a network of the far right around America, and he believes that's good for the United States. And unfortunately, Australia, I think right now is very much on that list.
Australia's great at saying me. That's kind of what we do in international affairs, Steve. But Musk is a fascinating character because his politics they used to be fairly centrist, I guess you'd say. And now, I mean, forget Donald Trump, like the stuff he's doing overseas, support for the AFD, Tommy Robinson in Britain, like these are far right, like proper far right figures. Why the sudden shift?
He seems not to care, but I mean, I think that for whatever reason, Elon Musk, at some point, I've interviewed Elon Musk before, and this is a different Elon Musk than I encountered years ago. The Elon Musk I encountered was much more humble, much more cautious, much more, and he's evolved, year after year and become, I think, more robust and confident in his views. But I think the big thing that's different about Elon Musk is I think that he believes that technology is changing the world. He's brought us, satellites in the sky that have changed everything. He's brought us Tesla and new ways in mobility and energy. And he's clearly a genius. And he sees that there are forces in particularly democratic societies that are moving against tech firms and what they're bringing with the future. And I think if there's one big difference between Elon Musk before Trump and after Trump, it's that he's gotten rid of the people, at least in the United States, who are trying to contain and control the tech industry, who are changing things on this planet for people. And I think he sees himself as a deliverer of a very different future for us. And I think that's an authentic position, and he wants to get rid of anybody in the way.
Steve, how long do we think that this bromance will last between Donald Trump and Musk?
I think it will last until they have a conflict between them on something small, and it will not be over policy, it will be over power, and Elon Musk will become, collateral damage on the side of the road because Donald Trump doesn't like to be challenged. But at some point that will happen.
Steve, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Fascinating stuff there, isn't it? Now, guys, the world's a big place. We all know this. And despite what you'll read...
I feel like it's getting smaller.
Well, no, you wouldn't... You'd read Georgie Tunney's Flat Earth blog, mate.
It's getting flatter.
But well, it's round. Need proof? Here is the best bits of international TV news from around the globe. It's time for... Global Talk with Tom. All right, guys, let's go first to Pakistan. This is crazy for a political bombshell.
Oh.
Is that Donald Trump selling pudding on the street in Pakistan?
This is a scoop.
This Kheer vendor gets special attention for his blonde do and, how to put it, Trump-like face. Donald Trump, sir, you have won the election. Now visit here and eat my Kheer.
Hear that, Trump? Once you buy Greenland, get over there and buy that bloke's pudding. Also, that's nothing. I once saw a guy at the morgue who looked just like Joe Biden.
But a bit more energy.
Had a bit more pep in his step. Let's stay in the US, guys, for a story that proves Aldi, it really does have everything.
Normally when you visit your local grocery store, you may see a child wandering around or even a service animal here and there, but not a coyote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A Chicago police officer down and dirty, trying his best to capture this coyote inside a fruit and veggie refrigerator. But as seen here, he jumps right back in.
I tell you what, Aldi, it's amazing. Aisle 2, milk, cheese, coyotes, whatever you want. They're doing it. Now to a motorist who really, and I mean really, embodies the idea of you just shoot your shot,
Light traffic stop in Sarasota is going viral after the driver is caught on body camera trying to flirt her way out of trouble.
We're gonna make out here.
No, we're not.
Keep your hands off him. Sorry.
Unfortunately, you're gonna have to. Everything that we...
Don't be such a nerd, bro.
No, they probably read as well. That's beautiful. That's actually how my mum and dad met.
Was she a hooter girl?
She was a hooter girl, yeah. To India, where this host seems less than enthusiastic about a Belgian initiative to get rid of old Christmas trees.
It wants to turn a post-Christmas dilemma into a foodie adventure. How? By eating your Christmas tree. Of course, this has not gone down well with Belgium's food agency. It is now asking people to not eat their Christmas tree.
An important message. But if you have to, this is take it from me. Take the decorations off first. Passing those angel wings it's no picnic. Now, as if commuting in London wasn't difficult enough, sometimes passengers also have to contend with this.
Probably do a bit of a double take, wouldn't you, if you saw this? It's the annual No Trousers Tube Ride. Took place
my word.
Despite the freezing temperatures.
Oh my goodness. Dozens of people taking part in this year's event in London. It was really cold this weekend.
Oh, gee, shots fired as well, just there. But that's also nothing in Australia. I've seen more skin on a Jetstar flight to Darwin. Those footy shorts hide nothing. Anyway, finally, let's talk US politics. I know you want to, because before they can be appointed, Trump's cabinet nominees, they're being grilled. And boy, some of these questions are pretty brutal.
A crucial day on Capitol Hill for President-elect Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He was grilled on the Hill by lawmakers about his qualifications to do the job.
Okay.
How many push-ups can you do?
I did 5 sets of 47 this morning.
Oh.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's great. Next question was actually, how much do you bench, bro? And if that guy fails in his bid, don't worry, this guy's the next nominee. Beautiful. That was, guys.
It's
It's amazing what's going on out there. I reckon, let's get Pakistani Trump to sing us to the break, I reckon.
Really?
Oh, sure, all right.
I don't know if I have the... This is the project.
This is the project. Welcome back.
Now, raunchy novels are all the rage with Gen Z on social media, but it seems not everyone wants to read sexy scenes.
What?
So one TikToker has taken it upon herself to give closed-door romance recommendations. She basically tells readers how to skip the bits that happen in the boudoir.
What? You never know why people's preferences are the way that they are. I know that a lot of people skip spice because it makes them uncomfortable, or for religious reasons, or maybe it is a triggering topic for them.
What is happening? I'm so confused by this. It's the book. That's how a book is how the author wanted it to be. That is its complete artwork. If you are just skipping it for that reason alone, you shouldn't be skipping those scenes.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that you listen to Taylor Swift songs, not in sequential order in an album. I've heard that from you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But is this like buying Playboy for the articles? Like actually for the articles?
This-
Like, how could you get embarrassed by reading?
It's some of the nerdiest stuff of it. What a sex scene in a book is a reward for getting through 130 pages.
Let's clean
You
this
need
up
it along
a
the
little,
way.
shall we? Our next guest is an odd sock with a heart of gold.
Andy Day is a TV megastar for a generation of British kids.
Here we go. Can you love it? Can you live it? Show it, give it, love it, live it. Choose respect.
BBC's longest-running children's presenter, he's also the lead singer and silly man of pop rock group Andy and the Odd Socks.
Who's in the odd socks? We are, we are. Who's in the odd socks? We are.
The band have delighted audiences across the UK with their signature mix of slapstick and songs. And now they're rocking down under for an Aussie tour.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn it all the way up to 11. Just one more gives you all you need. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Would you please welcome Andy Day?
How you doing?
You are top shelf when it comes to kids' performances. You have collaborated with Brian May. Yeah. You've performed at Glastonbury. How does a kids' band end up at Glastonbury?
So we started the band in 2017 with an aim to get it on TV. And our first gig, I don't know how we got there, to be honest, but our first gig was Glastonbury.
What?
Your first gig?
Was our first gig.
No.
Emily Evis, who has got kids, Michael Evis is who runs Glastonbury's daughter, and she runs it now. And he was a fan. Their kids were a fan of the band, and so she said, "Do you want to come and perform?" They wanted to put us on the Park stage, which is quite a big adult stage. And we were like, I'm not too sure we're ready for the Park stage, to be honest, but they put us on another stage called the William Green stage, which is this big tent, also an adult area. And we sort of promoted it as much as we could, but about 100 people turned up. And then it rained, and everyone turned up. So we actually had the tent completely packed. OK, there were straddlers from the night before, but we would take anything.
Yeah. Andy, it seems to me, though, that you've completely captured the market, right? Because your songs are absolute bangers.
Oh,
so for parents, they can enjoy them. Kids obviously enjoy them.
Well, that was the reason for sort of starting the band, really, and writing the music, to have music that would be good for the parents as well as the kids.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, well, being a parent myself, I know that you have to listen to what they want to listen to in the car. And so we created the album and then sort of went forward.
Now, Andy, I'm very impressed with what you do. Once I was asked to do stand-up comedy for children. Now, I normally perform to adults, and it goes pretty well. It was terrifying. The kids turned on me, mate.
Very honest.
They started crawling on the stage. They didn't laugh once. How do you do? They're terrifying. How do you do it?
Many years. I love performing in that sort of sector of the industry. You know, I just love.
Has
I
it
love
ever
kids.
gone wrong?
Has it ever gone wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have to think about when it went wrong, but it's definitely gone wrong before.
You just sound like you're trying to make Sam feel better.
Even before you're like, only 100 people turned up, I was like, that's pretty good enough.
Well, I mean, not in Glastonbury, there's 200,000 people that turned up.
That is true. That is true.
The thing about kids' entertainment is the energy.
Yeah.
And you just seem like you're constantly jumping up and down, you're running around. How much caffeine...
We do have a lot of energy. We did 2 shows today, actually, at Hamer Hall, and it's and they're quite full-on shows. There's like, I think, about 20 songs in each show. So 40 songs in, and there's a lot of energy, and the kids. But it's just brilliant, though. The kids get up, the parents get up, and they really go for it, which is, you can't ask for more.
How do the Aussie kids compare to other kids overseas? Are ours just feral? I feel like our kids would just be feral and go off. And
They definitely go off. Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, they do in the UK as well. But the Aussie audiences have been brilliant so far. We've absolutely loved them. Yeah. And the dads as well. The dads really get it. And the mums.
The dads love a little foot tap.
Yeah.
Now, very quickly before we let you go, I've always wanted to ask, someone in the world of children's entertainment, is there any beef between children's entertainment performers? Like, do you have a dartboard with the Wiggles and just like throw darts?
No, I love the Wiggles.
Get him.
do you want to key the big
No, we
red
do
car?
actually. Actually, we've sort of. I say joined forces. We haven't joined forces at all, but we follow each other on socials, and they're legends. So they don't know this, but I worked with them years and years ago when they came to the UK on a tour, and I was one of the presenters for this Nick Jr. Jump Up tour thing.
Oh wow!
And they came on and they did. They did their thing.
I'm hearing collab.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Or do you only collaborate with rock legends like
Brian May?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I mean, no. We definitely collab with
How do you look at a skivvy?
Yeah. A skivvy?
Yeah.
The Wiggles.
A turtleneck.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They've gone to you. They're scaring you. I get it. It's fine.
Tickets for Andy and the Odd Socks are available. Links are on our website. Would you please thank the wonderful Andy Day? 6:30 tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Tony.